So Yu Suzuki continues with his classic arcade games this year with Space Harrier.
Fantasy Zone and Space Harrier actually take place in the same universe.
It's not what you think.
When the game starts, he says,
"Welcome to the Fantasy Zone."
I'm going to tell my wife that. She's going to be really impressed.
In Space Harrier, you control a gentleman who has a large flying bazooka, rocket pack sort of thing that he tucks under his arm, and you run through different levels in the Fantasy Zone and destroy a ton of crazy creatures as you fly around.
Really, the gameplay is so unique that it's one of those games you just have to pick up and play, and right away it's easy to catch on to, but it's so much fun. I love the pseudo 3D graphics.
It had a controller similar to these.
It's like, am I riding a rocket and shooting things, or am I flying an F-16?
in fact, it was originally going to be an airplane game, but they didn't have the graphical resources to do it, and it's actually easier for them to make a little guy running around and flying.
Space Harrier was one of the first arcade games with 16-bit graphics and used Sega's super scaler technology, which basically allowed them to fake 3D.
Now, there's always lots of enemies on the screen at the same time. Lots of different moving parts. There's never any slowdown.
It had some crazy awesome characters. Like, have you ever seen a Cyclops woolly mammoth? Now you have.
You get weird stone faces.
And there's like cat dragons.
I really like how stages 4, stage 9, and stage 14, they had the ceiling that come down.
Oh, yeah.
And they'd go like really, really fast. And of course I could totally dodge that because I kicked ass at Space Harrier.
Well, yeah, you had the reflexes of, you know,
a 14-year-old
like
boy,
awesome.
which I was.
While the game is very simplistic to play, it endures as a favorite simply because the graphic style and the way the game was designed was just so unique.
It had some of the most memorable arcade music ever.
It's very fast-paced. The melody is just fantastic.
Has a great beat to it.
It used a digitized voice, so after beating a boss, it would say stuff like, "You're doing great."
You're doing great.
Thanks.
Yeah, Sega began to differentiate themselves from other companies.
Space Harrier. You're not in space. You're not in space Space Harrier.